What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sixers Post Game Live. The Sixers get the L tonight, 126-117. We are breaking it down. Joining me, my man, Tiago at TiagoPHL on Twitter. Go give him a follow. What's up, Tiago?
What's going on, Chris? Following the game from San Diego, home of the future World Series champs, Phillies.
The Philadelphia Phillies. If anybody's watching, this is also officially a Phillies watch party as Wheeler is dealing. What's up, Sean?
Yeah, not too much. Not the start we hoped to get off to, but, the vibes were too high. There had to be something that can go our way. So it's one game. It's one game.
It's one game. Where do we start? Let's just go off of initial impressions. It's got to be the defense. I think from the jump, Boston was hitting the tough contested shots. Boston was hitting the wide open shots. The Sixers played way too much hero ball at times, and the Sixers were missing way too many wide open shots over and over and over again. It just wasn't the Sixers' night. That's my general impression. It's game one. I'll throw it to you, Tiago. What's your general impression of this game?
Yeah, I'm going to go one step before that. It's got to start with your best player. Again, we're not going to make any season assumptions out of one game, but that was a pathetic performance by Joel Embiid on all accounts. I thought he set a pretty bad tone from the get-go. He looked disengaged, disinterested. He was really bad on both ends of the court. His decision-making was slow. He was slow defensively. And I think when your best player comes out and sets that kind of tone to start the game, it doesn't really matter if Harden's going to go off like he did. It doesn't really matter if Max is going to go off like he did against a team like Boston. You need all your players to show up. And I thought that he was really poor throughout the entire game. I mean, it was so you're expecting at some point that he's going to kind of get going. Maybe you get some buckets like we usually see from Joel. And it's very disappointing. We've seen Joel kind of go off to a slow start. Again, this is not an overarching comment about the player, but I expect a lot more from him tonight for sure.
Yeah. Here is Joel Embiid's shot chart. He was 1 of 2 inside the paint in the first half. I don't care how much. I don't know what Doc Rivers is watching. Like, when you have a guy just dribbling into double teams, that's not a great offense. I don't care what you are. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, my biggest frustration from tonight is just the lack of Embiid and Harden pick and roll. Like, that has to be the crux of everything the Sixers do offensively. There's no reason why that isn't being run most times down the court. Like, that should be where everything stems from. And that, you can build sets off that. That's what sets up the PJ Tucker corner threes. That's what sets up the Maxey catch and shoots. And they're just, it felt like they resulted to give it to Embiid and watch again. And that's kind of why we saw the mess. There was periods of play where it was just way too stagnant. And I also thought with the rotations, there was too much just starters and bench guys again. I want to see how Melton looks along these guys. I want to see how Daniel House rotates in with these guys. And I didn't see that enough. So that was my biggest takeaway is I just think there has to be way more two-man action between Embiid and Harden because that has to be the name of the game for the Sixers team.
Yeah, I just want to make one point on that because I actually wrote down on my notebook, the Sixers finished the half strong offensively. You could really see them kind of get going at the end of the second half. I think they scored 24 points in the last 7 minutes of the game with Harden running those pick and rolls and doing the things that Sean talked about. I looked at my notebook. They didn't run a single pick and roll until 7 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And that's when their offense went completely haywire. Boston took control of the game. They had nothing going on both ends. They were getting easy transition opportunities off those stagnant misses that you talk about, Chris. So it helps your offense. It also helps your defense. It is common sense basketball with those two. But for some reason, we continue to bang on the same drum over and over again. It was more the same tonight.
Yeah, I don't like the Joel Embiid at the elbow, that Embiid-centric offense where he just dribbles it from the arc, man. Like the entire game, I'm thinking, this is exactly why you need another point guard on this team that can get Embiid an entry pass, get Embiid going to the basket. I did not like the game plan from the jump. I think the first play was Embiid getting an ISO on the elbow, and just you see it Celtics double team, and there is way too much time in this game where Joel Embiid puts the ball on the floor and just it gets stripped. We have seen this over and over and over again. Let's roll into some comments before we talk about on the other end, and that's James Harden, who I thought had a really strong game tonight. Quentin says Sixers are a top 4 team, second round playoff exit. We have Tiago's favorite contributor here to the opinion lines, Boston Superfan. Good game, y'all. Good game, Boston Superfan. Doc Rivers with a nice tribute to Boston, giving the practice threes. Painful, man. Painful. Comment says this was an embarrassment from Joel Embiid. That was Rudy Poo says that was a typical Embiid start. Happens every year. Harden looked amazing. Let's jump right into James Harden. He had 22 and 4 at the half. He had 35 points, 5 of 9 from 3-point range, 8 assists. He did have 3 turnovers. I'll lead us off, Sean. What was your impression of James Harden?
Yeah, that's definitely the most positive takeaway tonight. And that there's been so much talked about how that is kind of the X factor of the ceiling of the Sixers team. He looked really, really good. And a lot of what I was hoping to see is kind of just the eye test stuff. Like, does he have some of that shake back? And I saw that tonight. We saw him drop smart on the one, saw Tatum fall on the one, creating some separation in a way that just wasn't the case at all last year. So I was very encouraged by that. I like the little floaters that he had working around the rim. I think that's new. We saw the mid-range. A couple that I like where he kind of processed where he kind of makes his read, looks for the pass, and then just pulls the jumper. Like, I like that kind of processing. You see him going through his decision-making, and overall very encouraged. Once again, like, I need to see more of the Embiid and Harden two-man. But as far as his play specifically, I was very happy with what I saw tonight.
Yeah, look at all those shots from the perimeter. I'm really happy to see the preseason kind of transition into the regular season because I was really happy about his shooting from the outside. He didn't get much from the inside the paint area, but like he finished 9 of 14 from the floor, and I swear the ones he missed were wide open like shots where he broke someone's ankles or something along those lines. And going like what I was most impressed with from James Harden tonight was how he was able to get others wide open shots, whether that was PJ Tucker, Tobias Harris. The dude was finding wide open shots all over the court, and it just wasn't the Sixers night. What's your take, Tiago?
Yeah, my take was exactly that second piece you talked about, Chris, is the playmaking. I was very impressed by the shot making because it's vintage Harden. And I'm a guy who usually falls on the line of it's not a foul when it comes to James Harden because it does flop a lot, but they were legitimately fouling him at the 3-point line, which tells me that like his bounces back, he's getting guys off timing, which is great at, right? So he fakes, head fake, pump fake, guys get off balance and foul. So that's vintage James Harden. We saw that tonight for sure. The playmaking off pick and roll, getting guys open looks, all that is, again, what we saw last year for the most part, but that's translated again one more time. So there's a lot to be excited about that. And you won, I think Sean talked a little bit about in the start of the podcast, is there's endless lineup opportunities that you can play with James Harden. When he's playing at that level, you can play big, you can play small, you can play PG at the 5, you can do a bunch of different things. So as the year progresses, if James Harden continues to go down this path, you hope to see him get everybody involved, not just Embiid, not just, whatever, Maxey or whatnot. So, this is, if you're thinking big picture, long term, this is a huge positive for the Sixers because you can definitely see a player that can fundamentally put the Sixers at another level offensively.
Yeah. And to respond to that, Sean?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It was everything I was hoping to see tonight and more, to be honest. I was pretty thrilled with just that pop that he saw, the ability to create separation. That's what I was looking for. That's definitely my number one takeaway of tonight. And even like I'm pretty somber after the loss, but this isn't like that bad of a loss. The Celtics are a legitimately very good team. It felt like they shot 100% in the second half, and there's a lot of stuff the Sixers need to clean up. They're outscored, I think it was 24-2 in transition or fast break points tonight. There's a lot of stuff to nitpick on the Sixers end, but it's not like this is an end of the world loss by any means.
Sean, everybody knows the Celtics are a great team. Stan Van Gundy told me they're a legendary team 20 freaking times tonight. It was nauseating, absolutely nauseating.
But here's the thing: can I just make a point about tonight because I thought it was a winnable game. Yeah, Boston played really well, but they didn't particularly look good early on, and there were things that could have been done right. You look at the box score, 35 plus minutes for all the starters.
Yeah.
I mean, PJ Tucker is getting absolutely annihilated by Jason Tatum tonight. I mean, it was a bloodbath. It was a bloodbath. And no point there was any type of adjustment from either somebody from the bench like Matisse. Do you put Melton on him? Do you even put Tobias on him? Right? Tobias is a pretty good on-ball defender. Defense size pretty well. Tatum's gotten stronger. Maybe Tobias makes a difference. You saw in the NBA Finals. Now, granted, it's not the NBA Finals, but Golden State threw everything at this guy, and they made a complete impact in the series. I mean, they completely shifted the series around. Now, granted, they have some more diverse defensive personnel, but it was PJ Tucker the entire night on Jason Tatum. I mean, there was no adjustment made defensively, and the guy went off, man. So,
Quentin says, if you double team Joel Embiid, you're going to win most possessions. Jordan's in the house saying, what's up, fellas? Harden didn't too bad. Harden was awesome. Like Tiago said, like if you're going to look at this glass half full, if that's the James Harden we're going to get this season, man, that's a huge storyline developing here. We'll see. Just one game. But let's kind of piggyback off of what Tiago touched on, because the depth and the lack of defense. Going into this offseason, everything we saw this preseason, I thought one of the most fun things we're going to be talking about this entire regular season is all the lineup combinations. What mixes and matches best with Embiid and Harden as we get ready for this year's playoffs. And the bench only gave you 11 points in this one. It didn't go well. DeAnthony Melton had only 5 points, I believe. House had a couple of steals. He had 1 point. Melton was actually a minus 13 on the court. Trez didn't really give you much. Any reason for concern, Sean, or is this just one game?
I think I put a little bit of this on Doc again with I just need to see more stagger between Maxey and Harden. I thought that was an issue too. I think you got to keep one of them out there as your primary ball handler at all times. Maxey obviously battled some foul issues today, so that might have gotten in the way of things. It took until like the late third quarter. It might have even been early fourth where he really got going, and it looked like a conscious effort of Embiid feeding him the ball, working a two-man game. But that was kind of the best flash I saw from Maxey and really the whole offense all night. So I want to see more of that, splitting those guys, having them run with a second unit. But for the bench guys as a whole, you got to get more out of Trez. I expected more out of Montrez tonight. Melton, I don't know. I want to see Melton with the starters a little bit. I'm really curious to see kind of what that looks like just throughout the period of a game. But I think this is something that you're going to have to keep playing around with the rotations, see how these guys match up. Not a reason to fully cause concern tonight, but I definitely was hoping for more.
What about you, Tiago?
Yeah, I mean, game number one, you should be trying everything. I mean, we should be out there. Matisse Thybulle should be out there. Your starter should not be playing 35 minutes where you're giving up about 130 points. I like what I saw from Maxey with Embiid off those second units. I thought that he was aggressive. They were clearly packing the paint when he had the ball. They were giving him open looks, and he took them and made them. I thought that was a good second unit run in the third quarter, give and take. I think one point I want to make about their defense, there was a lot of miscommunication stuff that you can clean up, switches. They're trying to switch more this year, you can tell. So there's some communication stuff they're going to work with. I think you can make that work over time. Their transition defense is going to be a problem until they either change their shot profile or get more athletes on the court, because you're asking Embiid to take shots deep in the post. When he misses it, they're going the other way, so Embiid's already behind everybody else. And then you got Maxey, who's too small, and then Harris, who's too slow, defending guys who are quicker and bigger. It's always going to be an issue. So until they look at it from a player roster profile or a shot profile, like that's who they're going to be, and kill them again tonight. It's going to continue to kill them. It's just the way it's going to be. So
yeah, there was a lot of moments tonight where it ended up just James Harden like 3-on-1 with the Celtics.
Right.
And, like
there's nothing you can do. There's just nothing you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Score a bucket every time.
Dave's in the house. Thanks for joining, Dave. Says, I agree with you guys. Harden playing much better was a huge positive. The concern for me is not getting much from the bench. Absolutely. Quentin says lack of movement, hero ball, lazy passes, lack of play creation other than Harden. 20 seconds spent on entry passes. It is not one game. It's every Doc coach game. Oh, my God. Quinn's coming in hot in game one of the regular season, man. I'm willing to just kind of give it just kind of throw this one out. It's in Boston. It's game 1. Embiid was clearly rusty. I'm going to give Doc the benefit of the doubt, at least to start. Before Tiago knows I go off on Doc. But anyway, Sir Anthony Dominguez is in, and luckily for the Sixers, the Phillies are playing a gem right now here in the 8th inning. So if it wasn't that the case, this would be probably a completely different post-game show right now.
He's going to pitch
What's
two
that?
innings. He's going to pitch 2 innings. Who's going to close?
I don't know. We'll find out. But looks like we're just about to get 2 outs here in the 8th inning. So we touched on the depth. We touched on the lack of defense. I'll throw it to you, Sean. Anything you want to bring up before we get into player of the game?
I'll give Tobias a little love. First half specifically, I thought he was very good. I thought he did a lot of like the little things, getting his hands in there, had a steal, had a, just finding his place, doing his thing. Second half, definitely not as good of a performance, so I kind of hesitated to bring it up. But first half specifically, I was very just happy with what I saw from him and him playing his role. He hit some tough shots tonight. There was one where a guy was just completely in his grill, and he still hit home a 3. So I was pretty happy with that. But I don't know. It's you got to see more overall. I'm pretty frustrated as a whole from this game, but it is just one game.
Yeah. Tobias was frustrating too, because I thought he had a great first half. He had 8 points in the first quarter. I think Tobias is such an underrated key to this team, man. Like when he's locked in defensively, when he's hitting shots, he's such an integral part of this team. And I don't think he had a bucket in the second half. I don't know. We'll look at it. But he was definitely not even part of this game. What about you, Tiago? Anything you want to touch on before we get on the player of the game?
Just the comment you have up there, 11 points. The Sixers bench is not involved in the offense. Georges Niang, 4 shots. House, 2 shots. Harrell, 3 shots. Thibault, 0 shots. Melton, 4 shots. That's just not enough for shot attempts. You look at Boston's bench, Brogdon, 11 shots. Grant Williams, 5 shot attempts. They're just not part of the offense. And it was the case last year. They just do not contribute offensively. So part of it just the way that the lines were staggered. Yeah, I mean, he would like to see more scoring, but these guys to play, need to touch the ball and take shots, just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into player of the game. I'll go last. Go ahead, Sean. Who's your player of the game tonight?
I hate to take the obvious one, but I got to give it to James Harden here. I saw everything I could have hoped for and more from him tonight. The burst, the shots, the willing shooter, the seeing the floor right, making reads. I was very happy with what I saw from Harden. That's, I think, the number one takeaway tonight is if we can get that version of James Harden on a fairly consistent basis, this is a completely different outlook for this team. So I was very happy with that.
Oh, man, this one's going to be tough, man, if I'm going last. What about you, Tiago?
He's not the player of the game, but I thought Maxey had a good second half. I thought that he had a struggle in the first half, but you can really see him kind of get his footing under him, and he started trying to bring the team back together. So overall, decent Maxey start. Obviously, you expect more from him this year, but I was pleasantly surprised to see him kind of rebound.
I'm not touching Joel Embiid. He doesn't deserve it. I'm not touching it. I'll go to Tobias Harris, I guess. Finished the game with 18 points here. He did have 6 attempts from 3, Tiago, so that's something.
Yeah, I just saw that. I'm looking at the box score right now, man. That's good.
That's actually more than I expected him. The Sixers finished with 34 shots from 3. I'd like to bump that up just a little bit. That's definitely down from what we've seen during the preseason. So Tobias Harris, love the decision making when he's playing. When he's got quick decision making with the ball, when he's playing good defense, I love that dude, man. But it didn't happen in the second half. I don't have anything else I would go with in this situation. Loser of the game would be Stan Van Gundy because that guy is absolutely terrible to listen to. Just gushing up, clearly, quickly forgetting how bad Tatum was in the finals. Just conveniently forget it.
The TNT broadcast as a whole with a little delay was driving me crazy today.
It was so bad. The audio delay was terrible.
Yeah, brutal. It that one crazy shot Harden hit where it was just like the audio all mixed up, just ruined it. So, and they didn't fix it through the whole game either.
I'll be honest, I had it on mute and I had the Phillies on the volume, so I'm happy I did that. Yeah, because it was. I hear you guys.
Yeah, like I said, if I guess the player of the game right now is Zach Wheeler. Let's be freaking honest.
Yeah, that's true.
that's where we're at least me mentally right now. Because if it wasn't for Zach Wheeler, Sir Anthony Dominguez goes bang, bang, bang. The Phillies are in the 9th inning here, up 2-0. And if they win this game, they pretty much do what they need to do in this series and bring it to Philly with one win in San Diego. So let's wrap it up here. Or we'll just do final thoughts and plugs. I'll throw it to you, Tiago. Anything you want to plug and final thoughts on game 1?
Game 1 against the Celtics, business as usual. Go in there and take an absolute dump.
Oh, man.
We've seen that before. Man. There's a lot to like, man. Harden looks really good. I think the Sixers will be fine. I think their starting unit over the course of the year is going to be one of the best starting units in basketball. But tonight was definitely not that night. But yeah, we'll just continue these to go along. I want to try to, as I get time to really try to do some video breakdowns and see some stuff that I'm observing. Chris and I talked about doing some lineup stuff and looking at how the trends are over the course of the year. So keep an eye out for that.
Love it, man. Go follow Tiago on Twitter. If you're not already, you're doing it wrong. There it is, at Tiago PHL. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, one down, 81 to go. Not how we wanted to start it, but it's okay. There's a lot to fix, but it's one game in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1. Check out my written work on heavy.com. I have a couple things coming out after this on this game, and check out Pick Swap Media on YouTube as well. Give us a subscribe there. There'll be some breakdown on there as well. So yeah, make sure to check that out. Yeah,
if you're watching us on TPL or wherever you're watching, go check out Pick Swap Media. We're also live streaming on there as well. Awesome content. Final thoughts is the Sixers have a loss before the Philadelphia Flyers. Which is pretty interesting. They have a loss before the Philadelphia Eagles, which is crazy to think about. And the Phillies only have one playoff loss. So we better win on Thursday. I'm just saying. The Sixers will be the only team in town with 2 losses. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. It's just one game. I'm not going to dump on this team until we get more data to kind of figure out what's going on. But go Phillies. Go follow my man Tiago on Twitter at TiagoPHL. Sean Bernard at Sean_Bernard1. 2 of the biggest heavy hitters on Sixers Twitter, period. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you on Thursday against the Bucks. If you love the Eagles, I did an awesome Jalen Hurts breakdown with Mark Schofield, who is the best of the best when it comes to breaking down quarterbacks, and a little NFL draft talk as well, which I love. So thank you for all the comments. Pick Swap Media. Follow my man Tiago. Follow my man Sean. We'll see you next time on Thursday. Stay awesome, everyone.